Nathan Conley is the midday host of the Fan 610 in Charlotte. Of course, the Giants playing the Carolina Panthers, undefeated 13-0 Carolina Panthers this weekend. Nate, what's the level of concern in Carolina over the Panthers playing the Giants this weekend?
It's funny. I think a lot among the fan base is not worried. The team is 13-0. This team has surprised a lot of people. The level of expectation for this team based off the results that they've had so far this season is just so out of whack, so out of balance. It's crazy. The fans almost at this point, they feel like they can't lose. I feel like a lot of the worries and concerns that even, people in our profession are bringing up, they almost just sort of dismiss. There's like this feeling of invincibility with this team.
Forget the fans then. What do you think, man? What do you think of the Giants playing the Panthers? You concerned?
I think this is one of the more vulnerable points in the season for the Panthers. Not that I don't think it's necessarily going to translate into a loss, but they are dealing with some injuries in the secondary. They've had very short time to try and fix that. It's going to be a work in progress on Sunday. Maybe Charles Tillman coming back with a partially torn ACL. Don't know how he's going to look. And then they just signed Robert McClain to maybe play a role in the secondary. They just signed Cortland Finnegan off the streets a couple weeks ago with the Benet Ben-Wickery injury, trying to account for that. And then, of course, Jonathan Stewart, their lead back, I believe fourth in the NFL now in terms of rushing yards. He is going to be unavailable for the Panthers, and they are a run-first offense.
So, Nate, the concerns you have isn't so much about the opponent but internal issues.
Well, I think that it's a combination of the both, really, because you do have Eli Manning and Odell, and they do have problems in the secondary that could manifest themselves to create some issues. So I do think it's a combination of situation and opponent. And, of course, if we're honest, the Giants this season against maybe the team most people think is the best team in the AFC and the Patriots played up to that level of competition, even though it resulted in a 1-point loss still. So I think maybe Eli, Coughlin, they've shown the propensity to be able to go up there and really rise to the occasion, but it really hasn't resulted in a lot of wins for them this year. They've still fallen short in that regard. So a little combination of the two based off what they're missing and what the Giants can do potentially to take, advantage of that weakness. But it will be interesting, though, to see how this offense is, a run-first offense without Jonathan Stewart. I think that is going to be the most interesting thing.
Nathan Conley is the midday host at the Fan 610 in Charlotte, at Nathan Conley on Twitter. Giants playing the undefeated Panthers on Sunday. And, Nate, I hope you don't take offense to this when I phrase it this way, but how in the hell are the Carolina Panthers 13-0?
I mean, the most incredible, maybe the single most surprising thing in any NFL season I can remember, this Carolina Panthers team leading the NFL in scoring. It really is unfathomable to think of where we thought this team might be offensively to start the season, and really the perceived lack of talent. But I think really what that does is it comes back to Cam Newton and the special season that he is having, putting these guys on his back, and really I think Mike Shula, who was criticized a lot in his tenure here with the Panthers as the offensive coordinator, he's really been put to the test this year, and he's come out, aces after this year. He's been really creative in what they do, creating mismatches, can take advantage of. And it's really an old school in this day in the NFL where teams love to air it out. They're one of the only teams in the NFL. I think they are the only team that has more rushing attempts than passing yards or passing attempts. So it's kind of this old school throwback team. And Cam Newton is really at the center of it all.
Nate, based on what you've seen, who has the edge, Odell Beckham Jr. or Josh Norman?
Man, this is a tough one. Odell has done some great work against some of the best receivers in the NFL. I personally think Odell Beckham is the premier wide receiver in the NFL. But where I think this favors a little bit for the Giants in terms of this matchup is because he is versatile as well. You can move him inside the slot and maybe get him off of Josh Norman. I believe Josh Norman right now, cornerbacks, has the lowest opposing quarterback rating when QBs throw at him. Around 41, I believe, is the quarterback rating. So he's been tremendous. His work against Dez Bryant, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins has all been, widely noted. But I think this year he's playing at a level, if anyone could stop Odell, he could do it. But I think the Giants and McAdoo and that offensive are going to do a lot of scheming of where they can create a matchup that's more advantageous. I mean, I would. Why test Josh Norman if you don't have to with all the question marks that there are in the rest of that secondary.
Nathan Conley out of Charlotte with Armen and Levack, 104.5 the team. Nate, should the Panthers rest Cam Newton in the regular season to get ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think right now they're not even really considering it because you hear the approach that it's been. They're taking it 1 week at a time. They're really not trying to look too ahead into where that situation would present itself because right now they don't even have the number 1 seed locked up. So I think first and foremost, they want to make sure they take care of that. And I do believe there's a sense within this team that they want to try and make history. They've had a lot of people doubting them along the way. A lot of people didn't think, you just asked me how they're 13-0. Most people would never have believed that. Most people would never have believed 16-0 if they're ever able to accomplish that. So I think these players, Ron Rivera is viewed as a player's coach. I think he's going to listen to them. Where you might see a little bit of a scenario in that take place is maybe Week 17. I don't know if he'll rest the starters, but we might see something similar to last year to Week 17 of the Patriots. Their last game of the season, they weren't going for any records at 16-0, but maybe play the starters for a half, hope they can get a lead, and then hand it to your backups, and really just don't increase, any risk or any chance of hurting what the ultimate goal is, and that's winning the Super Bowl.
Nathan Conley out of Charlotte does middays on the Fan 610 at Nathan Conley on Twitter. Giants, Panthers this Sunday at MetLife Stadium. Nate, thanks for your time today, man. Enjoy the weekend, and here's hoping that you don't enjoy it too much. You know what I mean?
I get where you guys are coming from. I appreciate your time, and I would say good luck this weekend as well, but I don't think that would go over well here back in Charlotte. So, yeah, I think it should at least be a good game. So
no
that's
injuries.
What we can hope for, at least on both parties. Yeah.